Welcome everyone to the Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee for August 24, 2026. And our first order of business will be to approve the minutes. And I'm going to call on our Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I'd like to take this opportunity to express the compliment to Michael and Justin and the other staff members of the finance department, the austere method that they use for keeping records and keeping them straight. And with that in said, I move for approval. I have reviewed them.
I have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Justin, are there any public comments reported? None reported, so we'll move on to our investment report. Welcome.
Thank you. It's a pretty short report. We didn't bid anything this last month. In the summer, we have a couple months that we don't get money from the state for schools. And so that and some other things we've kind of drawn down balances some, but we do have actually a bid coming this week. But our LGIP rate's 368, and everything has been really pretty steady for the last several months, and that's still where we are.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.
Item 4, the June 26 fund condition report. Michael?
Good evening. All right. We didn't do a fund condition report last month because we just closed our fiscal year in the last couple weeks. So the revenue report that you have on there tonight is going to span for the entire FY26 fiscal year. So I'll highlight a couple things on there. At the bottom of that first page of the report, we did collect right in line with our property taxes for last fiscal year, so that's good. Our county sales tax, side of sales tax stayed elevated, so for the entire year, year over year, we were 16% over last year. For the county piece and the schools, excuse me, the schools also saw an increase, so that is good as well. All of our revenues, as you can see, came right in line with estimates, all right around 100. The general fund was with 100.32%, so all right around 100%. So we're very happy about that for the close of the fiscal year. Our auditors have been here. Just go ahead and give an update on that. We had our audit committee meeting this afternoon at 4:30. So our auditors are hot and heavy on auditing FY26. So we anticipate that being done in the next couple months. And yeah, we ended the year exactly where we thought. There's not a whole lot to report on revenue for this fiscal year for FY27 because, as Teb, the trustee, stated, we don't get a lot of monies in July. We haven't started collecting property taxes yet, so there's not a lot of FY27 revenue yet. That'll start trickling in next month. So that's my report.
Any questions for the finance director? I have a motion to approve the report. And a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Brings us up to item 5, risk management.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners.
Welcome.
For the 264 fund, we have for the month of July, the calendar year, revenue $1,926,150, expenditures $2,963,538, revenue less expenditures for the calendar year, a revenue at $15,481,959, expenses at $18,547,185, revenue less expenditures, $3,065,225. And for the month And the fiscal year is the same as the month for July. On the 266 fund for the month of July 2026, workers' comp, $782.37. OJI, $49,826.66. Revenue for the total of $50,609.03, and that's the same for the calendar year. For the fiscal year month total. And for the county attorney, for the month of July, you had $13,320.74. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Any questions for Mr. Elam on his report? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Please continue.
Okay, for the next items we have the active rates for the employee portion to be approved. There are some design changes that we are recommending. And Gallagher is here to make a presentation, quick presentation for you. And then also we have the retirees too. So Ms. Smith, if it's all right?
Yes, please.
All right.
Welcome.
Mr. Chairman, quick question. When was this posted on SharePoint? It says like 4:43. Was it posted earlier today? Because
Which one are you talking about?
the retiree rates and employee rates and all this kind of stuff, when was it posted?
This was posted with the retiree, with the insurance committee over a month ago. And then since budget was delayed, so this has been out there with the insurance meeting posted with there, like July, I think, end of July.
So it was posted on the insurance SharePoint, but this is something, but it now shows up on our agenda because it wasn't on our agenda earlier. And now it's showing up and it's posted on SharePoint. I mean, could we have had a little bit of a heads up?
Well, to be
It
honest.
would have been, okay, let me ask you a different question.
Okay. Can I answer your question?
Sure.
Okay, so if you don't go with these plan design changes, which some of these were not approved till later, then these rates, we're gonna have to make changes to the rates, which we're late. I mean, it's almost impossible at this time to make any changes.
Well, not only
to
has
this.
it not been shared, we're late and we have to make a decision tonight.
You have to make a decision because in order to have open enrollment ready in October, and in order to have everybody's insurance in place by January 1, it's best to go ahead and take a serious look at this tonight.
Well, I take it very seriously. I mean, and it's deeply troubling that there would be no heads up. It was not on the agenda that was distributed a week ago. And now suddenly it appears, and there's attachments that we have not had a chance to digest. That is a concern.
Yes, but the insurance committee did not meet because of everything moved. They just met Thursday. So part of this all intertwines because the insurance meeting, part of it we looked at for plan.
It wasn't approved until last Thursday?
Part of it we looked at in July for plan design changes. Then part of it also goes into the last insurance meeting Thursday. And so then to combine all this back, these recommendations back together, we put it all back together and put it out there now.
Have you compared these to the state plan? Do you have an analysis you could share?
I have not run a complete analysis compared to the state plan. I have not. Not at the moment. We look at it. We do a comparison as far as an overview comparison. But to get into a complete analysis, you have to look at all the things that are covered through both the state and with us. And there's a lot of difference. There's a couple of things on here tonight. There's going to be difference between the state plan and here. So when you look at the state analysis, there's a lot of assumptions that have to be made when you're comparing the two. And also, you're looking at, when you do that comparison, it's what's the will of the commission, like if you add spouses. You can add spouses with our plan, you can add spouses with the state plan. Just because you go to the state doesn't mean you add spouses. You have to decide whether to add spouses on either plan. We can do either plan. We don't have it, but when you start doing a comparison, then you also have to make some assumptions. And with that, who will move to different plans and what that cost would be. And if you're adding spouses, certain spouses, and what's that number going to be without doing a complete analysis. So, and I'll just be honest with you. You know, if you, later on, you'll see where there's a Medicare unbundling. We're looking at a savings of a possible savings, if the commission agrees to it, of $358,000. When we got the bids back on Cigna, there's a potential savings of $1.9 million. And then also on the property and casualty this year, we got a reduction in the rate instead of an increase in the rate. And that was in about $600,000 to $700,000 decrease in what we had compared to last year. My point.
Mr. Elam, let me interrupt here for a minute.
Totally lacking.
But I'm trying to say I'm a little busy.
Excuse me, both of you. We've got a long agenda here, and I would request that we hold questions until after this presentation. People got questions in. Please continue, Mr. Elam, and have our representative show us what we've got going on. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Marissa Combs-Smith with Gallagher. We have several items before you tonight. There is a summary document that was loaded in your notes. Taking the first one, we recommend, as we did the last time I was in front of you all, it was on our summary sheet that we recommended the elimination of GLP-1s for weight loss specifically in the January of 2027 plan year. Removal of GLP-1s is not something that we took lightly. We looked at your claims history, made sure that we didn't see a trend that looked positive on the medical claims side, and then also looked at the drug spend. On one drug alone, the drug by the name of Zepbound, it's approved exclusively for weight loss, and it represented more than $2 million in spend for you all. So moving forward, we recommend that we do not cover those drugs for weight loss. We considered an alternative design where all specialty medications receive a premium load, not just GLP-1s, but all specialty meds. That is how the state addresses this. But ultimately, we did not recommend that path because of two things. One, that's quite difficult to administer. But the second issue is that you would have folks who had a medical necessity for a specialty med for a particular illness or disease who would be paying an additional surcharge on their premium. And we felt like it was a better course correction to correct the course as to GLP-1s for weight loss specifically, rather than, for lack of a better term, punishing those who are not just on GLP-1s for weight loss, but need them for other reasons or any other specialty class of medication for a disease. So that is the reason that we've recommended elimination of GLP-1s for weight loss. We have put together a letter to coincide with open enrollment to notify employees that this change is coming. They will have, really from the first time we announced it back earlier this summer, that we were really contemplating that, so half a year basically to either wind up their use with a physician's oversight or consider their post-open enrollment plans for 1/1. This could have been stopped mid-year, but they elected, Ed and his team elected to keep it through the end of the year. So what that means for your members, the letter they will receive is going to explain to them alternative places to purchase similar types of medications, including Trump RX with instructions on how that can be done. So not trying to disadvantage any member, and again, if they have diabetes, that is not what we're talking about, or if they have another prescribed condition that comes out in the future as to a GLP-1, that would not be considered part of this. This is only GLP-1s for weight loss. So that's the first recommendation. I'm happy to take questions with each one or go through them all.
How did the committee vote on the LGP1?
The insurance committee recommended that GLP-1 coverage for weight loss be stopped January 1st. That was the recommendation of the committee.
Recognized.
Do we need a motion on that?
We will, at some point, won't we, Michael, or we take this all together?
Really, these need to go together. If the plan design changes take into account the rate changes. So my recommendation to the committee would be to take this together. If the committee wishes to deny this, then I would deny the whole thing. If the committee wishes to accept it, I would accept the whole thing. The only thing I think you might could split out would be the retiree or the dental piece if you really wanted to. But as far as the employee rates for January 1 and the plan changes, those need to go together. But again, if you want to deny them, deny the whole thing. If you want to accept them, I would accept the whole thing.
So do you do a motion to accept and then have an amendment to take out the weight loss medication?
If you wanted to do that, I think this committee might need to ask Ed how that, or Marissa, how that would affect the rates. I think they built the rates assuming the GLP-1 was going to be taken out. So if you wanted to add that back in, the rates may need to go up. I didn't do that calculation, but that's my speculation. Marissa's shaking her head yes. So I think if you're going to change a plan design change, you might want to ask them how that would change the employee rates. I'm not sure if they'll be able to answer you tonight or if they'd have to come back.
Well, let me clarify. So you already have the numbers with this drug taken out.
Correct.
So we don't need, okay. I am for that. I'm just saying I didn't want to make sure that we stop the whole plan because we didn't want this medication.
So just to clarify for the committee and Ed and Marissa, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. The rates that you see presented to you tonight incorporate the second document, which is the plan changes, of which one is the GLP-1 changes. There's several other ones, but they have taken into account the rates they're requesting tonight, have taken into account all of those changes that are included, I believe, on the document Gallagher presented, which has 5 or 6 items on it. Mm-hmm. Is that correct, Marissa?
Yeah, the first 4 items are particular to the health plan rates, and then item 5 is Medicare Advantage, item 6 is dental related, so.
Let's just continue with your
If I could
presentation
clarify
on
one thing, Mr. Chairman.
that.
If I'm reading this correctly, so on the GLP-1s, we spent about $2.5 million
That is last year's.
last year, and then $2 million of that was for weight loss.
2 million of that was for one particular name brand weight loss. 2.5 million is the spend that you had for all weight loss specific. That does not include the diabetic situation.
So am I correct to say that $2 million for the Zepbound was for weight loss?
Correct?
And then $500,000 was for diabetes?
No, another 500,000 was also weight loss. It was just other name brands, other
So
brands.
$2.5 million altogether.
And perhaps more alarming is in the year-over-year head count of folks on the meds. So you went from 200 to 295, which, as these medications become more popular, we're not seeing that slow down. We would have expected the number to level off at some point. It has not, which is part of why we're recommending the change.
Any other questions on this particular item from the committee? Okay, please continue.
All right. Item 2 is a recommendation regarding a little bit of an extra charge for the richer network. So situated in Rutherford County, where the majority of your employees and their dependents live, within a reasonable driving distance of Murfreesboro and this greater Murfreesboro area, we do not foresee a tremendous issue with asking folks to pay a little bit extra if they want that richer network, because there are adequate providers in your footprint that are on a lower cost network. One of the things that we did when we did your administrative service bid for medical was we evaluated, the different networks and the discounts available through them and those types of things. And this recommendation surfaced from that process. This is not unlike how the state administers. In fact, they have a larger amount of load on the premium for the richer network than what we're recommending. So the rates reflect a smaller differential, but we think it's still the right course correction to just help folks be better consumers and pause before they sign up for that richer network and be sure that they really need it based on their providers. This is very common in the government space, and so it's kind of a overall cost containment strategy that we recommend. I don't hear any questions, so I'll move to number 3, medical plan recommendation about emergency room cost sharing. So again, I would categorize this one as toward a better consumerism strategy, which is really trying to educate health plan members that they really should have thoughtfulness when they consider where to go for treatment. We are seeing an increase in the number of urgent care facilities that are technically going to be billed under the emergency room classification because they have an ER capacity, not just like a clinic with an urgent care. Because of that, they're kind of popping up everywhere. We're seeing a trend where your emergency room billing class is really skyrocketing over time, and that's continued to be a trend. We evaluated different ways to administer a little bit of a cost-sharing shift on this particular item. I would not think of it really as a moneymaker for the county. This didn't really directly affect your rates. It's more of a longevity issue in trying to be sure that we are matching what the data is saying. And so we're recommending that we make an adjustment there. It's a pretty small adjustment. So the emergency room copay would go from $300 to $500, but it's waived if the person is admitted. So this is really meant to be a litmus test on whether that emergency room visit was warranted. Which we know sometimes you don't know that until after the fact. I mean, we understand that, but just, again, helping folks be a little better consumer. And then finally, item 4 is the high deductible health plan deductible change. Under IRS guidelines, in order for you all to maintain an embedded deductible structure, every year we have to look at what the change to the guidelines say, and every year it seems to go up just a little. This year is no different, so it's a $100 adjustment to that high deductible health plan strategy. And really, if I'm sitting in your shoes, I'd be like, what is this, Marissa? It's a tax advantaged account that can be used, that when people understand it and love it, it really is outpacing retirement savings. It's tax-free going in, tax-free coming out, so people really, people who love it. And to maintain that plan and maintain that structure where it's a little more favorable at the administration, then we need to match the federal guidelines. Because if we don't match that federal guideline, then we have to do what's called a decoupling or an unembedded deductible. And what that would mean is if we had more than one person with claims, for example, everybody would have to max out that deductible before the plan would start paying us to anyone. Whereas when they're embedded, like if I meet my individual maximum, then I start getting covered at that benefit level rather than having to wait on my whole family. Does that make sense? So it's an administrative change that we recommend for that reason. It's more consumer friendly for purposes of when you pick that plan, that's what you're buying typically, is you want it to work the way that we're trying to protect it and make it work. Any questions on that? All right, then the Medicare Advantage renewal. So, oh, go ahead. Yes. Do you want to stop?
Let's go that route.
That's the actives and the pre-65s.
Right.
That's the rate chart.
Yeah.
Any questions right now for either one of these guys on these first 4 items? If not, I will
Is there,
entertain a
Mr.
motion.
Chairman,
You're recognized.
is there a change in premium? How much did premiums go up?
The rate chart is appended, so it's different depending on the particular plan.
So if you look at your rate chart that you have in front of you, active rates, and you can see what the total rate is, you see what the employer portion is, that's the part that's already been voted on by the commission, and then you see what the employee premium is, and then you can also see where the wellness surcharge is, and the open access plus surcharge. If you
In the
move,
aggregate, how much did they go up?
if you move over to the second page of that rate chart, you will see the percentages at that point where they are for the employee. And you see the far right-hand side, local plus, if you were in the local plus in 2026 to 2027, you will see that there's a 9% across the board increase. When you look at an employee only, and you look at the difference, 9% sounds like a lot, but it's $1.52. Employee spouse is $8.52. So you have to look at the difference, if you'll see what is there, what the difference in what someone is paying, and then also the percentage increase. Then when you go back to the open access plus, and you add the surcharge, you'll see what those rates are and what the difference is.
So 9% plus the GOP goes away, plus an increased $500 for most Medicare or emergency room visits, which disincentivizes somebody presumably who's having chest pains to go to the emergency room. I'm just starting.
It was plus 200. It was 300 originally, so it's not 500 increase.
Oh, okay. So it goes up, it was 200, now it goes to 300?
It was 300, it's going to 500,
Okay, that's what I thought I indicated.
proposed.
Okay.
Waived if admitted.
So, okay, I mean, this is becoming even more concerning as we go along. I mean, I guess we have to vote on it because we have to vote on it, and we have to pass it because we have to pass it. And that's likewise very concerning at this point, at least to me. Maybe
And a little further explanation for you. Some of these things that affected the rates, also when we put things out for bid, depending on what the purchasing committee decided. And so you had wrapped in there certain things that if the purchasing committee decided to do the weight loss, then we had to add that back in. And so we could have a lot of different, we could have 15 different charts out here, but we had to get some planes landed. And we had to get some bids either approved or rejected. And so one bid also affected a second bid. And that was, if you didn't get your information soon enough, I apologize. But in trying to put all this together, especially being a bid year for the ASO fees, and trying to get also the plan as solvent, to get it solvent, we had to look at making some changes and shifting some things around. It also, part of it boiled down to the commission and what they decided on the employer contribution and the budget passing with that. So there's a whole lot of things that when that occurred, each one made a difference in the plan and trying to take care of the deficit. And again, the employer's part, that was voted on in June, end of June. The employee portion that we're voting on tonight. And again, trying to address the deficit in there.
And if I could, Mr. Chair, say that the emergency room increase is not to disincentivize someone who's having a heart attack, go to the emergency room, but to disincentivize someone who's having a runny nose going to the
If you don't know that you're having a heart attack. Respect.
Questions from the committee? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion on these first 4 items. Have a motion to
Second.
approve and a second. Further discussion? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Chairman P.
Yes, motion carries. Please continue.
All right, so this brings us to item number 5 on the Gallagher memo. The Medicare Advantage renewal. So I need to first set the stage with a little bit of context for what's going on in the Medicare market. So these carriers are holding their renewals later and later. And while you are not in a bid environment for this product, we bid this last year. So this is a renewal year under the same contract where Humana had the ability to increase their rates up to, the parameters in the original bid. And so we weren't comparing, when you look at the exhibit that's attached to our memo that went in there as well, it says retiree first at the top. That shows a DNQ, which means did not quote. That's different from declined to quote, because we weren't in a bid year. So the only thing we're comparing is the Humana renewal to any alternative design that Humana proposed, okay? And they hold that renewal until they have the opportunity to see, kind of as close to the renewal period as possible, what CMS changes might come out that would impact the renewal. So they hold that pretty close to the vest. We start asking for it. They finally give it to us, and then the negotiations begin, okay? So in that environment, we have an offer which is in context kind of I explained this way in insurance committees. I may not get the words exactly the same, but the concept is it is an opportunity based on the way the CMS funding works, where they reimburse pharmacy in one way and they reimburse medical in another, that if we separate those two for the 2027 plan year, there is a savings. Now, I don't know how long that will be available, meaning after 2027, they may say there's no savings left to do it this way anymore, so it may not be forever. In fact, most things in medical aren't, right? And especially in Medicare Advantage plans, they've got a lot of volatility in them. And so we just every year have to really carefully look at it. But this year, I want to say I have 2 other clients that already have this done this way, where we have the medical separate from the pharmacy. Their member experience has not been disrupted, meaning it's an underwriting function. It's something that's happening on the carrier side that makes them able to give a better offer financially to the county. But from the retiree's perspective, it's not disruptive. So behind the curtain, what they'll do is they will process their reimbursements for pharmacy separate from medical. Then the carrier, because they hold both, will put them together and look at the total pie and give you that renewal, but with the understanding it would be broken into 2 buckets behind the curtain. That's the difference in these 2 offers. One of them is, if you keep it the same and you don't do this behind the curtain thing I'm talking about, where they take it and put it into 2 buckets and then the underwriters look at them holistically together after separating them, then the rate would increase 16.5%, which is a $358,000 budget increase for that plan. However, if we're doing this thing I'm talking about, where that we allow the carrier on the back side of things to decouple them, then it it will still be all with Humana, but it would result in a savings of $95,000. So, you know, it's roughly a $60,000 swing, whether we do this or not, for 2027. I don't have a crystal ball of the future, but I can tell you that CMS and their regulations change pretty frequently. So my recommendation is that you accept the offer to uncouple them behind the scenes, not really at all changing the retiree experience from what I have gathered, and I've asked a lot of people, and including 2 clients that have already done it. But then my recommendation is also, to the extent possible, that you earmark that $95,000 in savings over the 2026 spend and say, we're not gonna take it out of our budget going forward. We're gonna bank that for a future renewal, because I think the renewal increase is coming. It's just we have a little bit of a opportunity here this year, if that makes sense. So it is our recommendation that you move forward with the option that uncouples those two, realize the $358,000 savings in terms of that increase that we would be facing otherwise, as well as a reduction in rate of 6% for 2027, which is about $95,000, and mark that for a future renewal on Medicare. That's what I would do, and what I'm recommending.
How was this voted on in the insurance committee?
The insurance committee recommended that we do as I'm suggesting, which is uncouple them and proceed with the savings for 2027, but understanding that this might be a one-year thing. We have to take this 1 year at a time. I'll be back this time next year with year 2.
Questions from the committee?
Mr. Chairman,
You're recognized.
is this something that has to be done again tonight?
This particular offer, Humana's terms are that if you want to unbundle them, they have to know, because of the coding in their system to be generated for the 1/1/27, they have to know by August 27th.
So
And
this has to be done tonight, too. Great. Thank you.
This one's not preventable. I can tell you that you will see this way every year under contract. There is absolutely nothing that Ed's office can do any differently, or that Gallagher has the power to do any differently. In fact, we're quite happy that they gave it to us in the month of August. I have clients still waiting on their full renewal for Medicare Advantage plans. So,
You've heard the presentation. Do any other comments from the committee or a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll move to unbundle and keep the $95,949 in the budget.
Okay, I have a motion.
So moved.
Have a second. Further discussion? Justin, I'm going to ask you to call roll on this. I will not be voting. I am on this particular program. But please call roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Irvin, Commissioner Johnson,
Let me ask a question. Since I'm a retiree, do I have to vote Rule 10?
You can vote Rule 10, yes, sir.
Do? Okay. Rule 10.
And your vote is positive? Okay, a yes for Commissioner.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
And pass for me. And just to be plain, I could have also said Rule 10. I just wanted to be clear. Ed, is that conclude that part? If not, if at the end, under other business, I'd like to, since this pertains to you, I'd like for you to go ahead and address this trustee bond resolution. Michael, you want to explain that?
Hold on.
Or have you got something else? I'm sorry.
We have the dental also.
Sorry.
We have the dental also.
Okay, go ahead.
Number 6, thank you. And we also have it for an option 2, raising it by $250, resulting in a maximum of $1,750 per covered individual. This is something that we think that this is something paid 100% by the employees. This is not a county expenditure, and this is something that we think that the plan without increase in premiums can absorb.
And the insurance committee did recommend it as well.
Any questions from the committee on the dental plan? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. Have a motion to approve the dental plan and a second. Further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris, Commissioner Irvin, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Has that got us, Ed? For the insurance part, all right. Michael, go ahead and explain where we're going down to item 27, other business trustee bond resolution.
So every year, every 4 years, we have to get a bond for our trustee. That's going to be Ted Beatty again. But we don't always know the amount. All of our other elected officials are covered under our, I always call it a blanket bond, but it's essentially our general liability that covers all of our other elected officials. However, because the amount of money that our trustee handles, they're required to have a separate bond. And so we have to do that by September 1. When the agenda goes out, I didn't know what that amount was going to be. We worked with Ed's office today, and they've got us that amount. We are not spending $24 million. That's the amount of the bond. All of it's already budgeted to buy him a bond that we do every year. But that's why you're seeing it tonight, is because we have to have it in place by September 1. And so that's why you're seeing it tonight. We got the amount. We just had to add it under other business since we didn't have it last Friday, or 2 Fridays ago.
Have a motion to approve, Commissioner Irvin, and a second, Commissioner Piercy. Further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris, Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
Okay, item 6, guaranteed maximum price for the BOA renovation. Welcome. We've seen a lot of this guy lately. Most of us have seen this presentation that he did for the committee the other day. We saw him at purchasing. Of course, we've seen this in budget before, but this is specifically for the renovation, and please go ahead.
Yes, my name is Bart Klein with Klein Swinney Associates. For those of you who had not seen the presentation, it's going to be very short, but the purpose today has always been to come to this body to get the approval for the demo and abatement portion of the contract, and that was for us to go and take everything off the walls, take everything out so we can verify as we finish up drawings over the next 60 days, take out the unknowns. And basically, as we finish drawings, we capture stuff that we can't see. So when we come back to this body with a GMP in roughly 60 days, that GMP is real solid. And that's so we're looking at a guaranteed maximum price now for demolition and abatement. We'll be coming back in 60 days for a guaranteed maximum price for construction. This is a rendering of the building. I didn't know I was going to do this presentation today, so I'm going to leave some boards over here. I would stay, but your agenda is quite long. I'll try. I'll see how quick you start going through it. But if you have questions about materials, this shows the end product that we're working towards, so hopefully we don't go in and find a bunch of stuff behind the wall that we made a judgment call on that was wrong.
Your record.
Yes.
Before we get into this, these are hard numbers, right? Are you giving us hard numbers?
The GMP for the abatement and the demolition is a hard number, guaranteed maximum price. That's shared with you.
Okay, but inside stuff, we don't have those hard numbers yet?
Correct. We won't have, yep. Exterior of the building, primarily masonry, metal panel, storefront. This shows the full build out of the first floor. These are some conceptual renderings. The bottom right-hand corner is the training room as you walk in on the first floor. That's to house roughly 75 to 80 people in that room. The center rendering shows the main entry into the public lobby, and then the rendering on the top left shows kind of the one-stop shop at Tanya Bell's codes space. The site plan, top right-hand corner, the gray graded area is the building. This shows the parking in the back parking lot, as well as the parking adjacent on the street. This is the first floor plan on the first floor. On the right side where it says public entry, that would be coming from your main public parking lot and walking into the building. You saw that rendering where it showed a reception. To the left in green and on a portion of the right, that is Tanya Bell's codes department. That darker blue on the right-hand side behind the reception desk, that is common space, such as the large training room and conference room. In purple is the elections space, and in red is fire administrative space. As we move up to the second floor, this is planning and engineering. Everything you see in white is future. We won't be putting furniture in those spaces, but we've planned this building to house the needs for the next 20, 30 years. So those are spaces that will be hired. Once those positions come available, we've already accounted for those spaces. As we move up to the third floor, this is finance. And remember, the thought process behind finance is both county finance and the school side of finance would be converging at this site on this floor. That white area depicts, again, the future spaces. This is the same schedule that you guys have seen many times on this project. Where we are today is we're here to get the demo and abatement approved. The demo and abatement will start in about 3 weeks. That process will take 30 to 60 days. Again, when they do that, they're going to go and remove everything off the walls and ceilings, remove everything off the building. We will verify that we don't have plumbing in a wall that wasn't depicted in the drawing that we got to relocate or move as we finish up the drawings. So the goal here was to finish final drawings over the next 60 days while abatement and demo happen, so we can basically get all that in the same package, and we'll be coming to you for the GMP at that time. So we're looking roughly, I'd say 2 to 3 months to finish that, come back with the GMP, and then you're a 12-month window for construction. So you're looking 14 to 15 months occupying the BOA building. That is it. Everybody should have a copy of this. This is American's contract, which Eric Hennessy and I believe Nick Christensen are reviewing. This contract we have to have ready for commission, but the contract is for $822,222 for grading and abatement. And much like the construction manager at risk contracts you guys have seen before, such as forensics, all the public safety, a lot of the buildings you have, this has a designer contingency, a construction contingency in it. There'll be money that comes back. All money that the contractor spends will be submitted through a pay application. That pay application is reviewed by Klein Swinney Associates, county staff, finance before approved. So anticipate that money will come back to the county at the end of this project as long as scope does not change. Very similar to what you've seen on the forensics and the public safety buildings. That's the presentation. Is there any questions? Yes.
You mentioned money coming back. Is that out of the 822?
Yes, that'll be out of 822. So just like every contract that's happened thus far, when you utilize the construction manager at risk, it's not a design build, which is hard bid. The contractor puts a number, says, I'm not going to go over this number, so he's not going to put the lowest number. He's going to put enough padding in there because he has to write the check. So just like public safety, if it's a $7 million project, you're getting about 10% back, Michael, on a public safety building? About 10% at the every end of it. Forensics, I think we've gotten about 1.7, if I include everything, at the end of it. So that's what happens when you do the construction manager at risk process.
Other questions? Commissioner Pearson?
So if he happens to get inside this building in the demolition process and the building is contaminated everywhere with mold, is there enough money in that 800 and some odd there to cover that if it's extensive?
Well, that's a loaded question. So it all depends what's there. I do not think we're going to have that issue because we've looked at the building quite a bit already. And remember, the county hired a third party to do a review. So I do not expect that. If it's minor mold, it'll probably come out. Mold remediation is not super, super expensive, but I don't know what's not there. So that's what we're doing this. And before you approve a GMP for the total renovation of, whatever that cost is, you want to know what you're signing on for. And that's what this does.
Where will the demolition from this building wind up?
It's the whole thing.
Where is it going?
Oh, well,
The trash?
Yeah, we have no control in telling them, but it will go to the appropriate landfills. I know on forensics, the county mayor asked R.C. Matthews to utilize, I believe, a certain waste group. And the contractor considered it, but that waste group cost more than the one that got the contract. So we can ask if there's somewhere where you want it to go, and I'll ask the contractor to tell us if that meets the current bid target.
Just to follow up on Commissioner Piercy's question, if there is a mold issue, are you going to have to come back for more money? Or is it, down the road, if it's a lot, so if it's substantial, where's that money come from?
I hope not. I can't answer what I don't know. I highly doubt we're going to have a mold issue that's going to be over the, it'd have to be over the $90 to $100,000 that's already in here. Plus, I guarantee you at every one of these line items, for instance, HVAC, $244,000, I guarantee you there's 10% of fluff in there because they padded that number. And so, highly doubt, but I can't say for certain.
Okay, I get the probability, but I'm trying to understand.
Probability is very low.
Where would the money come from if we had to?
That'd be a question for Michael.
So, and I'm going to talk overall about this project in general, and then I think it'll answer your question, because the next logical question is, where's the $822,000 come from, too? So I'll answer kind of all of that and kind of give you some options and where my thoughts are. So if you remember some history, we appropriated $9.5 million for the purchase of this building. We lowered the purchase price, I believe, to $8 million. I'm using round numbers here. So we're using the leftover money there, extra little bit of leftover money there to fund some of the design phase. It's going to fund some of this. We've also had about $3 million left over from the county transfer station. We have another $1 million left over from the forensic center. All of that, not at this time, but I'll come and request a vote to shift that savings down to this project. That's the next logical project to do that to. So that money would shift and pay for this 822. It would pay for some construction costs once we get that number. And then ultimately, you're still going to be short some money, right? I just named about $3 to $4 million that they'll shift from other projects down to this. I think the total reno is going to be in the $9 or $10 million range, a little more. I'm looking at Bart, somewhere in that 9 to 11. I don't know.
9 to 11.
We haven't bid it yet, so that's where I'm picking out the numbers. So ultimately, you may have to appropriate another $6 to $8 million somewhere in that range. The question is, where does that come from then, right? Because I kind of talked where that. So a couple options: you could borrow for the money. I would not recommend that, but that would be an option. The other option is you could take it from unassigned fund balance, which is probably one of the easier options. We may have some other leftover money from some other projects. We would shift first before we moved any money. So we'd probably do that first. Second option would be to move from some reserves we've set aside, kind of in the general fund of some one-time money. And then third would be to borrow it, which I would highly not recommend, but that is still an option if something unforeseen were to happen.
Okay, so that's where the 822 plus other renovations, plus some other stuff. If, to Commissioner Piercy's question, there is a major problem, Where did, that money would then come from unassigned?
Yeah, it's coming,
as
like,
well?
yes, and I guess the reason I'm saying is, I'm gonna move that $3 million or so savings from the transfer station, about $1 million from forensics, which is $4 million, I'm rounding here, but I would shift that down to this project. So before I did anything, if Bart comes back next month and needs another $500,000 for mold remediation, I'm gonna utilize that $4 million from other projects first before we move any from unassigned or before we move any from a bond or anything else. But ultimately, that would probably be my recommendation to fund this project. But ultimately, it could come out of unassigned eventually, to answer your question.
Further questions? This was voted on at purchasing the other day and was approved by the purchasing committee. Of course, that's pending approval from the county attorney, looking over the contracts and presenting this, and approval by the full commission, not just us. But at this time, requesting a motion one way or the other on the $822,222 for this demolition phase. I have a motion and second. Further discussion. Call roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Irvin, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, Bart.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before Bart leaves, there's a ribbon cutting this Friday, 1 o'clock, and everyone is invited. It's kind of a big deal, especially for those departments who will be moving into that building. So 1 o'clock Friday afternoon.
At the BOA building. All right, thank you. All right, that brings us to item 7, long-range transportation plan for Rutherford County and general fund budget amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Doug Damasi, County Planning Director. Tonight, I'm happy to present to you a contract from Neil Schaefer to update the county's long-range transportation plan. Our current plan was adopted back in 2004 and was amended back in 2006 to reconcile some differences between it and the Murfreesboro Transportation Plan. Since that time, and this won't be a big surprise to anyone, there's been an incredible amount of growth in Rutherford County. To help mitigate and control some of that, we have created and updated several of our other planning-related documents over the last several years. The first thing we did was we created our first comprehensive plan back in 2011. And we also, based off of that plan, we created new zoning ordinance and new subdivision regulations, which were both adopted in 2013. And then the Planning Commission recently, last year, adopted Plan Rutherford back in September. With the increased focus on road infrastructure over the last several years, we've also made some advances in our plan review process when it comes to traffic, most notably in our traffic studies. We do require scoping meetings now before any traffic study gets started. And we also have our third-party reviewer, which is Neil Schaefer, and they review these studies, provide feedback to us and also to the engineering firms that prepare those studies. We've also started looking at and executing a couple participation agreements for new developments. You'll recall we've considered a couple of those in the last several months for a couple of different projects that have been approved. We feel the time is right to update our plan, our transportation plan, for several reasons. First of all, one of the recommendations of Plan Rutherford is to update our long-range transportation plan. Plan Rutherford identified high-level improvements along major corridors. However, it didn't drill down into specific improvements along county roads. This plan would be for that purpose. Also, the fact that there have been a recent inclusion of dedicated funds in the county's budget for road infrastructure projects, we feel that this would be a good source to start funding for the plan. This update will help us identify roads that need improvement, the kind of improvements that are needed, and also to prioritize those improvements and identify potential funding sources. For this project, we are proposing to use our traffic consultant, Neil Schaefer, for several reasons. One, again, we already have a contract with them to review our traffic impact studies and other traffic-related activities, such as signal work, several signals that we have responsibilities for maintaining. We're familiar with their staff, they're familiar with us and our processes, and we have a very good working relationship. They are also working with Murfreesboro City on their transportation plan update that'll be coming up, I believe, in the next year. And also, this is something that is unique to Neil Schaefer. Their office is literally about a block or two down the street from where we're standing right now. Sometimes when we're having our scoping meetings, we can see our traffic consultant, Greg Judy, walking over to our office. So we know he's on his way. So he's very close. If we have issues, we know that he's very accessible. The contract is on your iPads. This was also presented to Public Works earlier this month. There were a couple questions at Public Works regarding the contract, and I'll go over those just briefly. First was, has a county attorney reviewed the agreement? The answer is yes. Nick has reviewed the contract. The contract that you have on your iPads is the revised version. We also had some questions about costs for what they're proposing. The total fee for what they're proposing for this contract is $250,970. So the question was, how does this relate to other plans that may have been done? So we've done a little bit of research into that, spoke to a couple of the jurisdictions in Rutherford County. Murfreesboro's update, now again, this is an update to their 2050 plan, will be about $200,000, or a full plan as opposed to just an update, it'll probably be closer to $300,000. The state that our current plan is in is really more of just a map with the routes on them with some lines. We never, for whatever reasons, this happened before I started working here, but we never really had all the documentation that went along with the plan itself. So I would take what we're having done is a little bit more than just an update. It really is kind of, in some extent, starting from scratch. Smyrna updated theirs from last year. Again, this was an update, not a complete redo, and it was about $194,000. I've also reached out to some of the folks we know at the Greater Nashville Regional Council. They're the ones that actually helped us draft Plan Rutherford. Of course, no two projects are the same, but their staff estimated based on our scope anywhere in a range of $200,000 to $250,000. So we feel we're pretty much in line with what the market has for these kind of studies. We are also here to, myself and our county engineer, Mike Hughes, and our assistant county engineer over construction, Jared Bonar, are here. They can help answer questions on that. I can walk through the contract and the different tasks if you'd like, but other than that, I'm ready to answer any questions that you may have on this. And I guess also we'll need to discuss possibility of where this is going to be funded. So I made the suggestion at least earlier about using the budgeted funds for road infrastructure projects, which I think would be a good base for that. But I mean, that's really going to be up to you and what Michael thinks. So be happy to answer questions.
Doug, when did you say our last plan was due?
The last transportation plan?
Yes.
It was the last plan was 2004. Then there was what they call the reconciliation study between Murfreesboro City and the county in 2006 that revised a couple of routes. It was just a smaller focused study on a couple of routes.
Could you give me a couple of examples how we have used that plan that was drawn up in 2004?
Yes, sir. A lot of what we look at for these kind of plans is it helps us identify when, let's say, for example, we see a larger development or a subdivision along a road that has been identified for some improvements. It helps us give us some justification for right-of-way dedication, those kind of things. Also, we have seen some projects in the past. There was one in particular I can think of. It didn't come to fruition ultimately, but we were going to have them incorporate a portion of the route through their development because their property was right on where the route was going to be. Now, again, that ended up not happening, so it was kind of a moot point. But those are a couple examples of what we would do for that. Helps us to get basically a line on a map, so to speak. So if something comes in a particular area, we can say, oh, we know we've got improvements here. We need to make sure we plan for that. That's what we would use that for.
What kind of time frame are we looking at before he'll have this complete?
The contract, it's about a year from start to finish. Now, we don't have the dates actually on here yet, obviously, because we're still working through process. But there's a schedule. If you look on the actual document, there's kind of a proposed schedule. If we were starting, let's just say in September of this year, we'd be finishing up about a year from now, August, September of next year.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions?
Could you clarify, or Michael, where the money's coming from again? Because that $400 fund, I had thought was to be set aside, correct me if I'm wrong, for road improvements, not studies and things along those lines for an overall traffic plan. And I'm not saying we couldn't use it for that, but I want to be sure kind of what the original purpose for the 400 was, if that's what we're going to think about using, and what we're using it for now. And because that was going to be seed money for example, the 231 or whatever it was, you know, piece. I'm just trying to sort that out.
So there was originally in the budget, we set aside $940,000 for road infrastructure projects, and you're correct. That was the point of the money, was for actual work on those projects, whatever the commission deemed. However, that doesn't mean that this body and the full commission couldn't use it. It's up to the discretion of this body or the full commission. So one of the options that I think the planning and engineering department were kind of proposing was, before we know, and this is my understanding, before we know that, hey, that's a priority for us, that project on 231 or which, this study would then dictate all the future road projects and get us a list of priority of where we wanted to put that money. So that's why there's not a budget amendment attached on your iPads tonight. It was up for this commission to discuss where y'all want to fund this from. So one option is you could send this to the full commission and request to use a piece of that money set aside that you mentioned and that Doug mentioned, which there was $940,000 set aside in the original budget. That is definitely an option. If you wish to use that, we can put that in the resolution tonight and use that. Another option is we can pull money out of unassigned fund balance. I believe tonight it's $250,970. We could do a budget amendment tonight out of unassigned fund balance for $250,000 to pay for this. Those are probably the two easiest, most efficient options. I mean, we're definitely not going to borrow for $250,000, but I guess we could. Those are the two easiest options that I would recommend tonight if you wish to move forward with this plan.
So the road improvement fund is solely based on one-off transfers. There's no sales tax, road, whatever.
No.
There's no funds going into there other than like the 400 that was allocated specifically, or other monies that are specifically transferred.
No. So yeah. So the way that works is, we left that in the general fund for this purpose, to provide this committee and the full commission the greatest flexibility. So that money is unassigned money. Y'all could use it on whatever you would like. The commission in the budget process set it aside for that specific purpose of which you mentioned. However, y'all could change that purpose at some point, and that's why we did it that way, so that the commission could use it as you wish, whether it's a transportation study or whether it's a road on 231 or an interstate interchange somewhere. When we did the budget, we did not want to hamstring the commission into any particular option. We wanted y'all to have the greatest flexibility. So to answer your question, it's just unassigned money in the general fund. It's a line item in the general fund right now. But those would be my two recommendations, either to use that pot of money or to do a budget amendment tonight out of unassigned fund balance.
Mr. Gooch.
So am I understanding this correctly, that the money was budgeted in last year's budget?
This year, you remember, one of the reasons we freed this up is we reduced the amount we gave to the chamber, of which that was roughly, I don't have it in front of me, roughly $400,000. And then when we brought the final budget with the new certified tax rate back, we did stick an additional bit of money in there. And that totaled
$500,000 or so.
So it totaled $940,000 is what y'all set aside to go towards infrastructure projects.
But this study was never funded last year.
No, no.
The option is to take it from there or ending fund balance.
Those are the two easiest options tonight. Yes, that would be my recommendation, is one of those two.
It's just more discussion.
Chairman Harris.
Doug, I just got a question. A lot of the new commissioners coming in campaign on playing Rutherford. And my question is, when you do this study, are they going to take in consideration that could be possibly adopted? And why I'm saying that is, it could be less density in the rural areas, but you're adding more density in the city areas. Would they look at that, or you're just going to say it's not enacted, so we're not going to look at that?
No, I think Plan Rutherford is going to be a vital part of this. So I think what they need to do is look at what is adopted, even if it's just adopted by the Planning Commission. I don't foresee bringing that document back here to the full county commission, even when the new commission takes their seats. But that's going to help to inform the recommendations that are going to be made based on the traffic study, because they're going to look at the long-range plan and say, okay, they're forecasting more density in these areas, maybe less in these. But these are all meant, I mean, the Plan Rutherford, our comprehensive plan, or even a long-range transportation plan like this, they're not meant, honestly, to take this long in between updates. That's something I know that, as staff, that we'll be more diligent about as time goes on. So as time goes on, like every 5 years or so, we look at adopting maybe a revised plan that takes into account, okay, we thought growth was going to be in these areas, maybe it was a little more over here than we thought, and we can adjust priorities around at that time. So they're not meant to be static documents that are just approved once and then are just there. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Further questions from the committee, and I have some once y'all got.
Well, I was just going to make a motion on the funding, if you want me.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, I believe in order to preserve the line item with the 900,000, my motion would be to take it from ending fund balance.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I hear a second? And a second. Discussion. Not hearing any discussion, I do want to ask a couple of quick questions. One, you gave examples, and when you first brought this up, I asked why was this not bid. Of course, we don't have to. I understand that. You gave some examples of Murfreesboro City, Smyrna, and who else? So who did their plans?
Murfreesboro City is using Neil Schaefer, the same firm that we're proposing to use. Town of Smyrna, it wasn't Neil Schaefer. I don't want to say off the top of my head because I don't remember exactly who it was. The GNRC wasn't based off of any specific study that they did expect. What they told me was what the scope we sent them, there wasn't really any projects that they were working on that were similar in scope, but they talked with their team that they have that work on these studies and said that based on the scope that we had, anywhere from the range of 200, 250,000 was reasonable to expect for a project like that. So they didn't base off a specific project. They were just looking at it from their experience, working with a lot of transportation consultants that handle those kind of plans.
Well, as I stated, I'd feel a lot more comfortable if we were bidding more of these high-dollar professional services, and not just this one. The jail, for instance, we've got several things out there. I believe we did bid the forensic center. Isn't that correct, Michael? So it's not that we don't do that, but that's up to the discretion of this commission. The other question I've got is, as far as working on this plan, I worked on the original transportation plan as a fairly new commissioner myself. Public hearings, have you got many public hearings set up? Plan Rutherford, I've heard too many people fuss and say we didn't have enough meetings. I say y'all didn't go to the meetings, but anyway, tell me what we're going to do on this transportation plan.
Yes, sir. If you look at the Exhibit A on your agreement on your iPads, you'll see that Task 2 is public and stakeholder engagement, and there's several subtasks under that where they come up with a community engagement plan and marketing materials. You'll see that they have, let's see, I'm just looking at this real quick. They have two distinct phases, listening and learning, says the, sorry, I'm just looking at definitions and acronyms here. The project management team, PMT, says will establish and facilitate outreach participation from a variety of external stakeholders. Consultant will conduct up to 3 meetings with the stakeholder groups to present progress, gather input. So you've got a phase 1, listening and learning, where they have up to 3 engagement events with the general public. Then you've got phase 2, reviewing the draft plan. Again, there's up to 3 more public engagement events during that. Following up engagement with local municipalities as directed by the group, virtual up to 3 meetings as well. So there is quite a bit of engagement built into the contract. Yes, sir.
So if people got specific questions about a particular road or area, it can be discussed.
That's correct. Yes, sir. Now, that doesn't even count the public hearings that we'll have here at either the Planning Commission or the County Commission. So those are those would be meetings we would be doing. That's not even included in this. So, and obviously, we will make all commissioners aware of when these meetings are, so you can alert your constituents as to when some of these and where these meetings are going to be. Obviously, none of that's been decided yet, but we'll make sure we stay engaged.
Okay.
May I ask a quick question?
Yes, please.
Was this bid
No, this is professional services, so this
Well,
was not.
I know there's an exception, but I'm asking, was it bid? Or is it, did we only look at this one? Did we look at any other providers?
When we first selected Neil Schaefer as our consultant, we did put that out, again, a request for professional services to help us. They were the only response that we got. Now, we were looking for a firm that primarily handles local municipalities, doesn't do as much contract work, because what we wanted to avoid was any kind of a conflict. If they were working on a private, with a private developer that was bringing something in, that would create a conflict, that'd be a problem. So they were selected with a, again, just a request for proposals. Now, as far as did we look at any other firms, we didn't, and for the reasons we didn't really go back to the presentation I made a little earlier. A, they've already been working with the city of Murfreesboro. There's going to be cost savings there because some of the information they're using is going to be for us as well. So.
Any other questions? Commissioner Piercy?
Will our county road board and road superintendent be involved in this in any way?
Yes, sir, absolutely. We've actually had meetings with him about this already. He's very well aware of what we're proposing.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, call roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris, Commissioner Irvin, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. You recognize?
During your presentation, you said most likely Plan Rutherford would never be brought back to the commission. Is that right?
Well, I think what I meant was, since it's been adopted by the Planning Commission, would we bring it back here? Now, if you direct me to do that, we can. That wasn't really what we were planning on doing, but if that's what you would like us to do, we certainly can do that. But that was not our intent.
Would it not be beneficiary to do that, to bring it back for another vote?
I mean, we can. We can go through the same process that we had before if you'd like. That just, again, it just wasn't on our radar, was all. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Piercy. That brings us to item 8, Planning and Engineering Salary Discussion and General Fund Budget Amendments.
Thank you, Chairman P. Members of the Budget. I'm Mike Hughes, Rutherford County Engineer, and I'm bringing forth tonight a budget amendment for an employee we have in our department. And you might be asking, why are we bringing a budget amendment so close to the start of the fiscal year? It's because we were unaware that he had topped out in his his pay grade, and was not granted the step increase or the pay increase. So we are asking that we move his pay grade from a pay grade 34 to a pay grade 35, and that will allow a modest increase of $2,035 to his salary, and plus some additional Social Security, pension, and employee Medicare will bring the total of $2,468. And that is just to put him back on a step where future raises, he will be able to get those. He is a vital member of our team. You're aware of some of his handiwork. It's been mentioned tonight, is that he oversaw the transfer station, the public health and safety projects, and he is currently overseeing the forensic center, the new EMS station, and the work on the clerk's office. So we hope to have him also working on the new jail when that comes online. So he is our engineer project coordinator. So he's boots on the ground, eyes and ears in the field, making sure the project comes in under budget if we can, and they have a quality project that he hands off to the county. So this money would come from the unassigned fund balance, and I'll try to happy to answer any other questions if you might have.
Michael?
Yes, sir.
I need to clarify something you said. This is not me saying whether you should or shouldn't. He was, I just looked, he was not topped out. He was paid off the pay table.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry, what was that, Mike?
he was not topped out. I believe he was like he was paid off. He was not on the pay table when he got hired.
Yeah.
So he was not topped out, because a topped out would have been at a step 24, I believe. And he technically, I don't think, was on any step. So I just wanted, so nobody call me going, I'm topped out, I need a pay raise tomorrow.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, Michael, I've got a question for you is, and we've seen this in the past where somebody would inadvertently get skipped and we missed it. Had you seen this before your budget was submitted, would you have added this?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Questions?
So this was in the budget or out of the budget?
So this gentleman was not necessarily inadvertently skipped. It's not that he doesn't do a great job.
Right.
What happens when somebody's off the pay table, if they're off the pay table, and let's say they're above their pay step and grade, based on HR's calculation, then they would not get a raise. And so I believe what happened is when Mike or Doug, I don't know, I guess it's Mike, he works for you. I get y'all's planning and engineering confused. When Mike noticed that he probably went to Mike, they probably went to the mayor's office, and they decided, even because he was off the table, they wanted to request that he still got a raise this year. And so that's what you're seeing tonight.
Yes.
Sonia did text me. She's at home sick, so she was sorry she could not be here to talk about it. I think she has COVID. That's what she texted me, has the flu. But that's, so I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not that he was inadvertently skipped, that he was like, it was an accident or mistake. It was that if we have an employee, and we have a few in the county that are off the pay table for various reasons, they could have been hired on, off the pay table. There could have been a mistake in the prior, so if we've made a mistake and paid somebody too much in the prior at a higher rate, we're not going to penalize them, but we'll hold them steady. I'm not saying that's what happened in this case. But in this case, he was not on the pay table, and so...
So is HR okay with or not okay with
Yes.
this adjustment to bring him to the pay table? Is that what
Yes.
you're doing?
Yes, sir. So we'll be increasing his pay grade from a 34 to a 35 in step 15. So that'll put him back on the table, and so future raises, he'll be eligible for those. So from how it was explained to me earlier, his pay grade was too close to an engineering training level, so he wasn't granted a higher pay grade, if I'm understanding correctly. But
I'm texting Sonia, just make sure I'm saying right. She was sorry she couldn't be here.
The grade that you're looking at, though, who suggested that grade? Did that come out of HR?
And
That's-
the mayor's office.
That's what I
Yes,
had
sir.
figured, but
So it came out of the mayor's office?
Well,
So
what happens is when this happens, typically the process is if a department head thinks that's under the mayor, thinks that somebody in their office needs a raise, or that they were paid wrong, or any type of issue with that, their direct line of report is the mayor. They work for the mayor, and so typically what will happen is Mike would go to the mayor and say, hey, such and such did not get a raise this year. We think they deserve one or need one. The mayor will either agree or disagree. If the mayor wants them to get a raise, then he'll reach out to Sonia or HR to get, to tell her what he wants her to calculate, or she'll calculate based on what their request is. I don't think it means that HR is either in agreement or disagreement. It just means that's what she calculated based on what the request was from the mayor's office.
It sounds like it was a kind of there's some confusion there. And I'm just trying to figure out, somebody was hired at one level off the pay table apparently, and then they now, based on the intervention of the mayor's office, they now get a raise. Is that, and then I'm just trying to assess whether or not Sonia is on board. It's not a lot of money, but at the same time, I'm just kind of curious, is more driving it, what's going on?
the confusion, I think, was on our part, that he was not on the tables, that when the pay raises came out and the steps came out, he was not granted that. So that confusion rests with us. So when the new budget came out, he was under the assumption he would get a raise, but it didn't come through.
Mr. Piercy.
This same presentation was given to us at Public Works back the first of the month. It was voted through unanimously. I'm going to move for its approval.
Yes, sir.
I have a motion to approve. And a second. Further discussion. Would you like to?
Just a quick question. Did we get Sonia's reply or no?
I would feel much more comfortable if Sonia was here, for me not to, I'm deciphering text messages from her. Again, she's sick, so there is some confusion here, of which I'm playing the middle person right now, as far as, I just don't know all the facts. I wasn't involved, other than I just prepared the budget amendment. So I think there was some confusion in when the person got hired. Again, this is not a knock on the person. I think they do a great job, but I think there was an offer letter signed when Sonia's saying there was an offer letter signed when this individual got hired, and I think there may have been a misunderstanding. I just don't want to get my facts wrong.
But you're testifying that Sonia's okay with all this?
Yes,
The HR.
she's the one that helped us come up with the new pay grade and step.
Well, let me clarify, though. What happens there is no different than when I prepare the budget amendment. It doesn't mean I'm for or against this budget amendment. It just, what happens is the mayor will reach out, or the mayor's office, if it's somebody under them, or me. Let's take one of my employees. I may say, hey, Sonia, I want this person to make in this range of money, and she'll go, okay, well, if that's the case, based on their experience, they need to be in this. I don't know that I want to put Sonia on record saying she's exactly agreeing with a 30, that she thinks this person is making 35. It's based on their requests, on the pay range, based on some of the variables. She's saying, kind of like when I prepare the factual part of the budget amendment. I just don't want to put words in Sonia's mouth without her being here.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Is there further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Irvin, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Item 9, the lease agreement with the Rockvale Ruritan Club. Are you going to do that one, Michael, or we got someone here?
I can do it.
All right.
So we have several lease agreements with several of our community partners or members. This agreement is for $5 a year. You'll see that on the first page of the agreement. The county attorney has looked at this agreement. Excuse me, got the hiccups. This agreement is for 50 years, beginning in September, and it ends in 2076. Again, it's $5 a year. But this is very much one of our standard lease agreements with several of our entities, but this one just happens to be in Rockvale.
This is pretty well routine with us in our community clubs. Do any discussion or question or a motion? Have a motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Further discussion? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Irvin, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes, motion carries. Item 10, general fund budget amendment for PAWS. Welcome, Mr. Gregory.
Good evening. Michael Gregory, Director of Rutherford County PAWS. We have a couple of budget amendments tonight. Would you like to take those separate or together, sir?
I haven't looked at those particular. We'll try to take them together unless I hear one of the committee wants to pull them back, but go ahead.
Yes, sir. The first one is to recognize 2 grants that PAWS received, one from the State of Tennessee Animal Friendly Grant in the amount of $1,500, the other from the ASPCA Rescue Effect for $10,000. $1,500 would go to drugs and medical supplies for spay and neuter surgeries. $10,000 would go to advertising for adoption programs. And then the second amendment is just moving money within our budget. We purchased a vehicle early on in the budget year. We had $2,800 remaining from that, and to move that $2,800 over into our vehicle maintenance. We've had some problems with some air conditioning on some trucks. I just want to go ahead and get that over so we're covered there hopefully to the end of the budget year.
Okay, you've heard the request. Any questions for Michael? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Have a motion to approve, Commissioner Sereno. Second, Commissioner Irving. Further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris, Commissioner Irvin, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Item 11, general fund budget amendment for the Sheriff's Department for body-worn camera grant.
I can take this one if the sheriff wants me to.
Or if you want to, you want to combine them, that's fine.
I've got them listed separate, if we could take them separate, but I'll run through them real quick. The first one's gonna be the body-worn camera grant, but that's a federal grant. What you're seeing is the carryover, because that grant runs, the period is October 1st through September, because that's the federal grant year. So that's the first one for the body-worn camera grant that you'll see there. It's $89,790. I'll go ahead and talk about number 12, and if you want to take them together, you definitely can. The next one is the mental health transport grant. Again, that one is carryover from last year. That's money we've gotten up front. It's reserved. You'll notice it's coming out of a restricted reserve. We're moving the remaining from last year, which is a little over $400,000 to be able to be spent this year. And we've had that grant for several years now, but again, that's the carryover for both of those grants there. We had planned on bringing those. We just didn't know the final amounts when we did the budget because of the period of performance.
No match?
The other one is a match, has a piece of a match from the body-worn camera. You'll notice it, a little bit's coming out of unassigned fund, or the match piece of that's coming out of unassigned fund balance. But we anticipated that, like we knew that was coming, so the money last year closed in there. But again, because that period of performance runs from October to September, we just never know what that money's gonna be to put in the budget.
Motion to approve both of them.
I have a motion to approve. Second, Commissioner Piercy. Further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris, Commissioner Irvin, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Sheriff. Item 12, general fund budget amendment for the Sheriff's Department for the mental health transportation.
He made a motion
What
for
we
both.
just got.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So 13 is the ambulance service fund budget amendment for the Coverdell grant.
So Brian couldn't be here tonight, so I'll take that one if that's okay.
Please.
So this is a no-match grant that we've received. We do have one clerical correction on what came from public safety to budget tonight. The very last line. Okay. The one on your iPad is correct. The one, it says 735 health equipment. It was actually 599 at public safety, so just the line item changed. The one on your iPad for tonight is correct. But this is a no-match grant. They're going to use it to purchase you can see the description at the bottom there, part of a portable x-ray system. This also covers, and we've had this grant before, that covers some of the cost of one of our medical death investigators. And this runs through May of 26 through April of 29. But this year, we're only requesting $165,000, but the total project will be $428,000.
Mr. Chairman? So the part of it is 167. Do we automatically get the rest, or do we?
So what we're doing is part of this is going to fund the salary of one of our medical death investigators. It'll be reimbursement based for us, so we don't want to use up all the money on this year. So we'll seek reimbursement over the next several years to cover the cost of that medical death investigator. So the total grant will be for a little over $400,000, but this year we're only planning to spend $165,000 of it.
So if we don't, is it possible not to receive?
No, we're awarded the grant through April of 2029.
Okay, so we'll get all of the money. The first part is just for the employee examiner, and the rest we will get for this equipment.
Yes, you can see on the amendment right there, you'll see that this year we're going to spend a little over $66,000 in salaries plus all the related benefits. And then at the bottom, there's $50,000 for equipment. And then next year, we'll actually have it as part of the budget every year. We were just awarded this grant after the budget came in. But it's no match to us, so there's not a risk.
The grant will cover the budget amount.
Yes, and it does. So that's why there's nothing coming out unassigned here. It's entirely covered by the grant.
Is there already a motion here? Motion to approve if there's not.
I have a motion to approve the grant. Second, Commissioner Johnson. Further discussion. Call roll, please.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris,
Yes.
Commissioner Irvin, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes, motion carries. Item 14, request for application acceptance of the Archives Development Grant.
Both of these next two grants are no match, so if y'all wish to take them together, you can.
John Lodell, Director of Archives. I'll start with 14. If y'all want to keep going, I'll go to 15. Number 14, we're going after, it's a grant I go after every year, Archives Development Grant. This is from the state of Tennessee, administered through the Tennessee State Library and Archives. Michael already said non-match. This year, we're going after $9,990 for a map scanner, or also known as a plat scanner, 42-inch wide, to add to what I call our digital toolbox at the archives. There's only 2 map scanners in the county, one in planning and engineering and one in the deeds office. We believe we need one of our own at the archives, so hope to get this grant to add that to what we're able to scan down at the archives.
Please continue unless I hear an objection. No, continue.
Okay, number 15 is for the museum downstairs. It deals with security, so I'm not going to go into specifics on this on camera. However, we're going after specifically, or the specific amount of $5,476.52 to bolster the security we have in the museum areas and the 5 rooms on the first floor of this building. We already have very good security down there, but this is going to add to that down to the artifact and exhibit case level. So there again, $5,476.52, non-match. This is coming from the state of Tennessee, administered through the Tennessee State Museum.
I have a motion to approve both grants. Second. Further discussion. Hearing none, call roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris, Commissioner Irvin, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes, motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Logan. All right, that gets us to item 16, CAD system discussion.
We would, if possible, we'd like to defer that, number 16, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we will defer item 16. Item 17, general fund budget amendment for fiscal year 25 Homeland Security Grant for EMA. Got you up there one quicker, so.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Chairman. Chris Clark, Director of EMA. Tonight, we've got about 4 budget amendments, so bear with me. The first budget amendment is for the 2025 Homeland Security Grant. For people that want to know, this $129,409 are for a foam trailer, which would put out petroleum products such as gasoline, or if it catches on fire, jet fuel. This would be going to the fire department along with an abundance of foam and also laryngoscope blades for EMS.
No match? Is it match?
It's 100%.
Okay, no match.
Okay, you've heard the request. You want us to continue on next one or vote on this one? Continue.
Number 2 is it is a hazardous material emergency preparedness grant. And this grant, if approved, if this budget amendment is approved, then it's an 80-20 grant. So we've got about $6,500 into this $32,000 budget amendment. This was on 2026 Hazardous Materials Emergency Response Grant.
So most of this is training and planning money that you're getting here?
So, yes, sir, this is training. This is for what we call hazmat IQ. We'll bring in multiple departments for this training.
Municipalities
Yes,
included? Right.
that is correct.
And it's coming out of unassigned fund balance, the match?
Yes, and this would also be for acceptance of this grant, not just to apply. This would be for acceptance tonight on number 18. But yes, the $6,458 is coming out of unassigned.
So there's no money in the budget?
Not at this time.
That's $6,458 would be that match on that.
And like I said, this is for acceptance tonight. We have previously approved the application, so this would be for the acceptance and the budget.
I should have done the application first and then the budget amendment if it's accepted. Sorry.
So the first one had no match, and then this one's an 80-20.
Okay, we've got two requests out there in front of us so far. The first one was a non-match, and this one it has got a match. Will the committee want to continue or go ahead and vote on either or both of these?
The next one is 100%. It's just moving money from 2000, or last year's budget to this year's budget. That's what that is.
The last one is just an application. The fourth one is an application to apply for
Correct.
the FY27 grant.
Continue then.
So, last but not least, this budget, the budget amendments, is to move $61,744 from last year's budget into this year's budget for a urban initiative, security initiative. Basically, it's a Homeland grant, Homeland Security grant that we didn't spend the money last year. In last year's budget, we want to move it to this year's budget so we can spend it. It's 100% reimbursement from the federal government.
Okay, you've heard his request on these four now. One of them is,
He's got one more, which would be the fourth, which was your application, Chris, to apply for the FY27 HEMP grant.
Correct. I didn't know if you wanted to do all the
Continue.
budget amendments or.
this is a request to apply only. Please continue.
This next one is a request to apply the hazardous material preparedness for 2027. So earlier budget amendment was for 26. We're requesting to apply for 27. Same grant, 80-20, for $25,000. And this would be to send multiple departments, representatives, 2 from each fire department to Baltimore, Maryland, for hazardous materials conference and training. So it'll be somebody from Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Laverne, and Rutherford County to receive that training. And request to apply.
Motion to approve all of them.
I have a motion to approve all of these grants. Do I hear a second? Second, Commissioner Johnson.
I just want to clarify, so we got for the minutes, this will be items 17 through 20. It'll be 3 budget amendments, and then number 20 will be the application. And the number 18 will be the acceptance of the grant, but 17, 18, 19, and 20, is that okay?
Further discussion. Call roll, please.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris, Commissioner Irvin, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Clark. All right, item 21, request for MOU between MTSU and the recovery grant. Hey, welcome.
Good evening, Lachelle Ricks, Director of Recovery Court. I have an MOU between Recovery Court and MTSU. We've had this MOU before, and this is just reciting another 5 years. We do accept interns from them in their bachelor's and master's program, and they come and intern at our program.
Questions from the committee?
Has the county attorney reviewed this?
I'm sorry, yes,
And Eric?
yes.
Any cost associated with this on our part?
No cost.
Further questions? I will entertain a motion. We have a motion to accept the MOU. Second, Commissioner Sereno. Further discussion? Since there's no cost associated with this, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item 22, pension contribution options for the hybrid plan.
So we had a pension presentation at the last commission meeting in July. At that meeting, it was requested that I present two options to y'all. If y'all want to take action, there's no requirement to take any action. You could defer it to the next commission. But these are the two options. You heard the presentation from Drew Freeman from Treasury, but there are two options, or really three. We could not do anything and leave our pension plan the same. Then we could go to a contributory pension plan, or we could go to a hybrid, and those two options are on your iPad. But that was the information that was requested to be presented.
One thing I would like to mention is when we go to decide this, I'd like for Sonia to be here to explain the county's portion of that. That's, of course, again, up to our committee. Any discussion from the committee members at this time? Commissioner Irvin.
Just to clarify, do you want someone to Sonia at the commission or at this committee?
Well, I was talking about for us, if we're going to send a recommendation forward, I want to hear Sonia's take on this too, because since she represents us on this plan. When I say she represents us, through HR, but
there's no rush on this. The only rush is if you wish to make a change, you have to do it 6 months in advance of the change you wish to make. I'm not advocating for or against the change. I think it's every year we talk about this as it comes up in budget, so this allows us to be proactive and look at changes if you want to make them. If you were to make a change today, I wouldn't recommend that it be effective until July 1 or January 1. Put it on either one of those two dates. The other thing we need to look at is it was a significant hit to the budget this year. And so, again, if we're willing to pay for it, our pension plan is a great pension plan. There's nothing wrong with it other than it's a very Cadillac expensive pension plan. So as long as we're willing to pay for it, but we just need to be aware that's the con of having a really good pension plan is it's very expensive to us as a county. This year it went up over 1%, but that's well into the almost $1.5 million to $2 million range. So that's right off the top. And so that's one of the reasons we started looking at this during last budget year, was just so that this committee and the full commission is aware of how much it cost us. And as long as we're prepared to pay that plan, then our pension plan is very good. But if we ever wish to make a change, we have to do it 6 months in advance of when we want to make that change. And so I think that's why we've put it on the agenda now, so that we don't look at it last minute when we get to budget season next year.
any other discussion from the committee?
I'm just going to make a motion for further discussion if needed, but I'll move that we accept the hybrid plan.
You need to come up with a date.
Mm-hmm.
The earliest date would be July the 1st if this is 6 months.
The earliest one is July 1st, yes, now. Yep.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
For the July 1st, 2027 effective date.
And this, correct me if I'm wrong, this will only affect new hires after that date?
Correct. It would only affect people hired after July 1 of 2027. It also does not affect returning people who are already vested. So let's say that you have somebody vested on the county plan, has been with us 10 years, and they leave for a year or two and they come back and they're already vested with us. They would stay on the system, the plan they're vested in. So it's only new hires who are not vested. And this would also affect all county employees, and it would affect school classified employees. Our school teacher certified employees are already on the hybrid plan. So this affects county employees and school classified employees and the highway department.
Further discussion? This passage will go on to the full commission Wednesday, 26th. Hopefully we'll have Sonia well by then. We'll see. We'll pray for her recovery. But any further discussion? Call roll.
So Sonia is watching at home. She just wanted me to clarify, it is their full-time hire date, not their part-time effective. It's their effective date for this would be the person's full-time hire date, not their part-time date. So if you had a part-time person now, if they came on full-time after July 1, she just wanted me to clarify that for the record for us.
It would be the full-time date, not the part-time.
That is correct.
Okay. So that could make a difference to somebody. Further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris, Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes. Motion carries. We'll be seeing that Wednesday at our full commission meeting. Okay, next item is item 23, contract for the fiscal year 27 dead livestock.
So I'll just go ahead and clarify, it is in our budget already.
Most of us know what that is. It's been here for a while. Do I hear a motion? All right, I have a motion, a second, Piercy and Harris. Further discussion? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris, Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Piercy, Chairman P.
Yes, motion carries. This brings us up to item 24, the RFP for the Sheriff's Office for the medical services. We saw this the other day at purchasing, and we had some questions to that, but Michael, you want to bring us up to date?
So that bid book is thick. There isn't it's not on your iPad tonight. It's pretty thick. Purchasing did approve this, but we've had a chance to kind of go through it, look at it. I will go ahead and tell you the bid was for an additional, it's between 3.8 and 3.9 million additional cost per year. The other change in the bid was the previous medical contract was a 3% increase every year for 5 years. This one is a 5% increase every year for 5 years. One of the issues, though, that we found was the dates were wrong on this bid. The bid had it going from January to December was what was that was submitted. It really, my preference would be for it not to span multiple budget years, would be for it to go to July to June. So my recommendation would be to send it back to purchasing to get it to align with our budget year. This new RFP would not go into a place until January regardless, so we do have time if you wish to send this back. Now, you're not required to send it back. We could do it off budget year, but it's going to be very hard to budget since it's on a calendar year as it stands right now. But if you approve it tonight, you are also going to have to approve a $2 million budget amendment to go with it to get us through the end of the fiscal year. So those are your two options tonight on this.
Michael, that $2 million, for some reason or other, $4 million is sticking in my head for what the total change would be.
The total change is between 3.8 and 3.9. That this would go into effect in January, so you'd only need $2 million to get you through half the fiscal year to get us to June.
You've heard Michael's recommendation for this to go back to purchasing, and that would be my recommendation too, being on purchasing. First of all, we do need to minimum straighten out the times that this contract runs so that it's in conjunction with our budget year. Otherwise, we're going to have some problems with that. And two, there were a couple things I missed, and don't mind saying during the purchasing meeting, you know, the 3% to 5%, I didn't see that reading it through. And personally, I wouldn't mind our oncoming mayor to have a chance to wade into this and work with Dr. Rudd. Dr. Rudd's always done a good job for us and somebody I implicitly trust. But I'd like to have another pair of eyes looking at it myself. But anyway, my recommendation also would be to send this back to purchasing and let us straighten out the problems that we've got there. Any questions from the committee, and please direct them to Michael or to
So move with your recommended motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. I want to call a roll on this one too, please.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Urban? Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Piercy? Chairman P.
Yes, motion carries, so we'll be sending that back to purchasing. Item 25, a rooftop access and license agreement for United Telephone Company. Michael, I don't know who's doing that one.
I don't either, and I don't know much about it because it was just forwarded to us, so I don't know.
Who sent that to us?
Property management.
Use your mic, we can't hear you.
Sorry, my apologies. Okay, so yeah, there was a number of issues. I think there was, someone was going to talk to, before it kind of moved ahead, and I wasn't sure if it was coming here or to, just straight to the commission. I think someone was going to talk to Cody, I believe, and it was going to be run by Murfreesboro because it has to do with a Wi-Fi signal back and forth, and then there was a question about immediate termination. So in the absence of someone here who can speak to that, it might make more sense for us to either send it back to property management, or if you want to have discussions about whether it should be on the agenda. I think Chairman Phillips was there as well. I think there were some questions, at least in my mind, where exactly it was going next, but we needed the answers to 3 or 4 pretty solid questions before it.
Guys, was there any deadline on this, or do you recall?
That I'm aware of.
You're recognized.
Excuse me, my remembrance is identical to what Commissioner Urban's remembrance is, that they wanted to move it forward if those questions could be answered by tonight, and I don't see anybody here to answer those questions, so I would agree with deferring that until those questions could be answered. And the questions related to, have we bounced this off of the city of Murfreesboro to see if they're okay with it, and also to clean up some language that dealt with the termination clause. If we experience problems, I think the question was, can we terminate that contract immediately without having to wait 30 days?
Yeah, and I believe, if memory serves, there was also a question about running this by Cody and getting his thoughts about the security aspect and things along those lines too.
Well, having heard you guys, I would recommend we send this back to property management, but I would also ask the mayor, if y'all would contact the mayor's office and Cody to see if there's any kind of deadline on this, and if so, have them prepared to bring that under other business Wednesday, the 26th. So it's hearing no objections, we will send this back to property management. Okay, that brings us to item 26, courthouse rules update.
I was not involved on this. The finance office was called late this afternoon, and one of the reasons I understand it came to budget was because there's a fee. If you'll look on page 4, there's a $750 for a one-day use, and a partial daily fee of $400. But again, I was not involved on negotiating or reviewing this, so I can't really speak to a whole lot of it, other than that piece right there.
Chairman P.,
Yes, sir.
it looks like it's got a lot of red lines marked through it.
It does.
How often are these rules addressed or changed? How long has it been since they've been changed?
Since I've been here, I don't recall any of these being changed. Now, I did see something posted on the door about our use of the restrooms by the mayor, and I don't know if that went through this or not. That's the only change that I'm aware of in courthouse rules.
Who made the changes, Michael?
So Eric sent us this document. I believe they left the red lines on here so that y'all could see what was changed from the previous rules that are in place.
I would make a motion to defer this to the new mayor coming in could look at this, and if he had any changes to it, because if it hadn't been changed since you've been on the commission, there's no rush to do it tonight.
Second.
I tend to agree. So I don't think we need a motion on this. We'll defer this one also.
I tell you what we can do on this one is, if it's okay with the committee, we'll just put it to next month's budget and reach out to the mayor coming in and get his input, and we can bring that input back to budget either next month or October, if this committee may not meet in September, but if it does, we'll bring it then. If not, we'll bring it in October.
And that is, let's see, that brought us to the end of our agenda, but I will mention what he just said is we do not have a scheduled budget meeting for this coming month. Unless something comes up, as far as I know, we will not have a budget meeting in September. We won't have a steering committee meet and actually form the committees until after our normal meeting date. So, Michael, you want to?
The only thing I'll add is I would agree with everything the chairman just said. There could be something that pops up that if it does, I'll reach out to the chairman and email the new committee once that committee, the new budget committee is taking place. If there is something, we could have a special call at the end of September. I don't anticipate it, but if there is, I'll keep the committee or whoever's the new committee apprised, and we'll just go from there. But I think our tentative plan is to meet in October, depending on how the new committee sets their committee structure.
Okay. Any further business, guys? Seeing none, we're adjourned.